Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, the me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games and designed by Salvatore Vasta. We're getting ready to embark upon the July 1942 turn. First up, weather is all clear, so we don't have to check with weather. No one wants to declare war at this point. Economy, I will pull up the player card here. Not that card. To give you, hold it up here for a few seconds so you can freeze frame and check all the numbers. Russia's up to 28, Britain to 22. There was a retcon that I had to do for the British. You'll notice that their factories are at 4. A couple months ago, I won a combat and forgot to reduce their factory by 1 factory loss marker. So when they lost it this last turn, it only went up to 4, not to 5. So that's why they're still at 22. I'm not going to try and figure out what they could have built or whatever, but I'm going to give them the right factory count right now. So after that, we go to strategic warfare. The Russians are at +2. The Germans are at +1. The Germans don't have anything to play, and neither do the Russians. The British do have to choose whether they'll use their Ultra this turn or not. So the German die roll, 3 + 1 is a 4. The Russian die roll, so 3 + 2 is a 5. And if you check, a 4 to a 5 is a diamond. So nothing happened there. Both of them are at 1 lost factory, so they can't go any lower. And then against the British, the Germans are +3, and the British are +2. And I don't see a real need to use my Ultra. I'm getting another one next turn for sure, so I'm going to go ahead and use it here and see if I can start chipping away at the German factory count. So the German die roll will be halved. 2 + 3 is a 5, halved to 2.5 rounds up to a 3. And the British roll, 5 + 2 is a 7. 3 to a 7 is definitely a Axis factory loss. So their factory loss marker will go up by 1. Start chipping away at the German economy as best as we can. And then, of course, we have to roll for our Ultra and see when we're going to get it back. 6. Well, that's payback for my 1 last time, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming back in January. So it will be a long time before we see another Ultra. Well, we have 2, but that Ultra is not coming back for a long time. And after strategic warfare, strategic movement, I do not see one for the Germans at this point. So they're not going to have one. The British, they already have, they just need to get this off their counter. Put it in the faction card. I don't have one for the British, but do have to remove their counter. And as far as I know, from what I saw of the Russians, they kind of have their backstop pieces where they belong, so I don't have any strategic movement for the Russians either. So, into German operations phase. So, first thing, you'll notice on the national tracks I didn't give anybody any points. The Germans are at 30, but with me having to spend 12 at least for my airplanes, I really didn't feel like I could afford to give anything to anybody else. One of the first things the Germans are going to do is spend 2 for the Africa Corps, puts them down to 28. And they're just going to move it 1, 2 into 53-38, which will establish supply to the Tobruk fort. So until he pushes the Africa army like away and step losses it and things like that, I'm just going to keep trying to slow him down here. Name of the game for the Axis in North Africa at this point is delay. I missed any chance of doing anything a long time ago. So then we'll go back up here to the... Oh, let's finish in the Mediterranean. The Axis will have their first air will attack Force H. Horrible odds, but I have to try and chip away at it too. So the Germans are only +1 because they're an airplane against a ship. The British start off at +2 because they're British, +2 because they're an aircraft carrier in fair weather, and -1 for their sortie. So it's a +1 to a +3. And the Germans, Axis, whatever, roll. A 1 + 1 is a 2. Can't get any worse than that. And of course the British will roll, a 5 + 3 is an 8. That's really bad. 1 to an 8. Take 3 sorties. Ouch. So that's not going well for us. At this point, I really have to just go ahead and go after it. So I'll be at -2 net. The British will be at +2 net. And the Italians roll. 4 - 2 is a 2. The British roll a 1 + 2 is a 3. So a 2 to a 3 is a diamond, so we each take a sortie. And I'm going to get chopped up. I'm debating on whether to go ahead and just run the sorties up on the Italian aircraft this turn. I think I have to. So they're at -3, and the British are at +1. And the Axis rolls a 6, -3 is a 3. Hey. The British roll 4 + 1 is a 5. Combat results table, a 3 to a 5 is 2 sorties for the Italian aircraft, so it's done. But I did put Force H up to 4 sorties. That means it can interdict my supply 1 time. Because it will take a sortie to get through the escort and then another sortie to attack the convoy. So that kind of gets me where I want to be. Was hoping to get there with a sortie left, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Now we're done with all of that nonsense. We can go back up here and we have to do the aircraft thing that we always do. Let's start in the south here. German 4th against the Russians that are in Rostov. I don't even know who that is. 3rd. The Germans start off at a net of -2. +2 for German, -4 for sorties. And the Russians start off at a -4. As best they can get is a 2. And we're looking for the Germans to roll like a 6 or a 5 is what they really need. They roll a 6. -2 is a 4. The best the Russians can roll is a 2. If you look on the CRT, a 4 to a 2 is 2 sorties on the Russians. I can find the sortie marker. Sure I can. There it is. So the Russians take 2, and the Germans only take 1. That's good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to try and do that again with the 3rd Luft. It's going to try to take out the thing in Reserve, 4th Air. So it's -2 to -4 again. Again, Germans need a 5 or 6 to make it work. And I got another 6. So I did it twice. The Germans are doing very well here. This does not bode well for their ground roll combats because the 1s have to show up at some point. And the Germans take 1 sortie there. With that in mind, I'm going to use this one here in the center against the 2nd Air. So I'm -3 to his -4. I need a 6 to... I didn't get it. So there's the 1s. So I take 1 and he takes 1. And it won't matter at -5 to -5. We'll both take 1. So I've neutralized 3 of his airplanes for 2 of mine. That's a good thing. So now the one that's here at the junction will go after Bologoya at -2 to -2, not -4. -2 to -4. A 2, I take 1, so I'll just do it twice. And boom, boom. So I have an aircraft at Veliluki to help me try and take out Leningrad, or maybe punch a hole against these stinking shock armies. They're just so annoying. Being they're +2, they're like +2 infantry. They're as good as German infantry. Okay, well, where to begin? I think I'm not going to get across the further branch of the Don in any kind of force at this point. So I think I'm going to concentrate on trying to take Rostov and Orel. Maybe kill some Russian armies along the way. At least that's my hope. So we're going to activate the 2nd Panzer. Bring up the national tracks here. That's 2. He will move 1 for the river, 2, 3 for the mountains, and attack into Rostov at a net of +3 to start here. I don't have anything that I can do. He starts at 0. It's +3 to 0, and he has 3 tanks that he can play. Definitely wants to save a couple for... Do I use it here or at Orel? I think I use it here because this is a factory city. So I'm going to use my 1 allotted armored unit. The other 2 I'm going to try and save for Leningrad unless I see a really big hole opening. So the Russians go up to +2. And the Germans roll. 2 + 3 is a 5, and the Russians roll. A 3 + 2 is a 5, so nothing happens between the 2 of us. That was a wasted attack by the Germans. Well, it's not really wasted. They had to do it either way. That cost them 6, so they have 4 left, and they're going to use the last another 3 to attack again, trying to soften it up for the infantry. Now they're +3 to -0, and this time the Russians really need to save those tanks for Leningrad. So they're going to let it go. Germans roll. 4 + 3 is a 7. Russians roll a 1. Even if I had a +2, I would have lost the hex. So good thing I didn't use the tank. However, the 7 to 1 is a DD, so that's not good for me. So I have to flip view. The Germans are they're going to go ahead and drop back behind the river here. The Germans are definitely going to move into Rostov because they have no movement points left. So we're going to have to move this Russian airplane. And I think I'm going to go ahead and fly it back to Stalingrad at this point. I'm going to put the ground unit on top so I know I have a ground unit to move there if I want to. We're going to get a control marker put in there. And the Germans take Rostov, so that does some things to the Russians. First off, their factory count goes down by 1, so they're a total of owning of 5. And then their willpower goes down by 2 because they took a city. So they're down to 30 willpower. Minor victory for the Germans there. And that's the end of that activation. So now we're just going to go ahead and do... how do I want to do this? I guess I want to just do the 18th. For another point. And move to 3155. We're only at +2. Russians are at 0. We're going to attack the 18th, so that's 4. That leaves me with 4 movement points. Russians are just going to let go. They need to save the tanks. A 1 + 2 is a 3. Ouch. And a 1. Geez, I retreated him. Well, I think he'll retreat behind the river. This way. Germans will take the hex. They don't really have a good attack here. But I think it's worth just trying to get across the river. So we'll go in at +1 to 0 and see what happens. That's 3 movement points, so I only have 1 movement point left. And we roll. 6 + 1 is a 7. And of course the Russians roll a 6 right along with me. 7 to a 6 is a diamond. That ends that activation, so we're done with that part. I think the next thing I need to do here, I need to get the 2nd out of the way so I can use other infantry to attack into this. So I'm going to activate the 2nd. Oh, points. Take that one down. That's 4. And 2 for the med, so I'm doing correctly. He's just going to go ahead and move into Kursk for right now. Then we're going to activate the 17th, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 3 movement points left. I'll take 1 off the national track for my moving him. And he's going to attack this infantry at +2 to 0, trying to push him back some. Oh, that's an 8 to a 5. An 8 to a 5 is a DR, so I did push him back. He only has 1 legal retreat to 2451. I will go ahead and take the hex and attack him again for my last 2 movement points. Same, +2 to 0. 3 + 2 is a 5. Best I can do is retreat him. And he rolled a 3. A 5 to a 3 is a retreat, yes. Okay. So now he has to make some choices. I really don't want to block up 2452 or 2351. I want to leave retreat routes for my various units. So I'm going to go to 2352. Back up a little bit. Now the Germans have to make a decision. If they're going to go whole hog for Orel, moving into 2451 would make a very good thing. But if they don't make it into Orel, then they're in a world of hurt. So they're going to take the hex because I'm pretty sure if I do this right, I should be able to pull this off. So now the German 3rd Panzer is the next one to activate. That's 2, so I'm down to 1. And he will go 1 and then 2, 3 against the 12th. So I'm at +4 and he's at 0. And that's 3 movement points, so I have 7 left. The Russians, you would think you would throw in a tanks here, but I really am worried about bad die rolls in Leningrad. Let's see, if you botch the first one, just take a quick look here. The Germans can get basically 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, -1. They'd be +8, which means the best they can get would be 14. The best they can get is a 7. So, and with a tank, a 1 or a 2 messes me up, and then I think they can only get a 6 on the next one, but that's 4 results, and if I'm -2, it's a guarantee to being taken, but if it's with another tanks marker, I have a 50-50 shot of stopping it, or a 2/3 chance of stopping it. So 2 tanks markers gives me a really good chance of keeping Leningrad, but it might cause a breakthrough down here. I'm going to let them have a breakthrough down here because I have units to spare down here, so let it go. 3 + 4 is a 7, and they rolled a 3. 7 to a 3 is just a DR. That's good for the Russians. They can't go to 2452, so they can only go to 2453. And the armored unit will move in, and then he will spend 3, so he's down to 4, to attack the 40th that's in Orel. And he's only +3, Orel is a 0. Oh, actually he gets an extra +2, because Orel is now officially isolated. And the Russians just kind of look at it and say the tanks marker would be pointless anyway, because he has another attack at +5. I can't use them all up. I got to save some for Leningrad, so we're going to save both. So here we go. 4 + 5 is a 9, and they rolled a 4. 9 to a 4 is a DR. He cannot retreat, so he must be flipped. And let's see, the Germans will be +4, 3. +3 to -2 if they use their infantry. I'm wanting to use the armor to try and hit this infantry unit and maybe make him susceptible to being bounced. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually attack the infantry unit that retreated before, so I'm at +4. I'm going to trust my infantry to take out Orel. So +4 to 0. 6 + 4 is a 10. I can't get any better. And a 4. Combat results table. 10 to a 4 is a DD. So he is flipped. And I think he'll just go this way. And yeah, I'm a greedy German. We're going to move into this space and then attack him again. This time he's -2. +4 to -2. I have no movement points left. $10 to -2 is a 4. Does that even matter? I don't think that matters. 10 to a 4. A 4 is at least a DD, so he is eliminated. So he will lose another willpower, down to 29. And this guy will go onto the faction card in the eliminated box. I will not take that hex, however, because that would put me in an isolated situation. I'd have to move infantry up or something to deal with that, which I don't really want to do. Next up is the 15th. So 2 in the med, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I started at 30, and I'm at 20, so that's correct. And then he is attacking at +3 to -2 because of the isolation. It's +2 for German, +2 for isolation, -1 for city. So +3 to -2, and I still have 6 movement points left. I should put that on there. It's important. Oh, 5 movement points. It costs me 3 to attack that hex. Sorry. 6 + 3 is a 9. At a -2, I think he can't. At -2, he's done for. Best he can get is a 4, which would be a retreat, which will also take out this infantry unit. He goes in the eliminated box. National Will goes down another point for that. We're going to move into the hex, since we paid those movement points. Wow, I don't know what to do here. I have 5 movement points left, so I can move 1 to there. I'm kind of thin down here on my line. Oh, that means the Russians also lost 2 more for the city. So they're down to 26. 5 movement points left. I could just walk over here. I could go there. And there. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and push on. So we'll move 1 movement point to there, and then we'll attack the 30th at +2 to 0. Oops, wrong way. Defender's at 0, I'm at +2. Let's just see what happens. The Germans roll. 3 + 2 is a 5. Russians roll a 4, so nothing happens. The Germans will go ahead and spend their last 2. Roll 5 + 2 is a 7, and the Russians roll a 4. That's a defender retreat. And they're like, okay, I'll go defend in a really good defensive hex. Want to take it? Want to take the hex? No. This is establishing me a fairly good supply line through Orel, down through Kursk, and then off to Germany. That's why I'm doing that. 2 more points that I'm going to do right now so I don't forget. 1, 2, and 1, 2, I think it is. Yeah, that's the best I can do for right now. I can move Hungarians and Romanians in behind them to sort of backstop their attack. That's the problem with having lost that step for the Kursk army last turn. Gave me 1 less army to move around down here, so I just took 2 more off. 1, 2, so I should be at 18. So I'm running out of production points again. It's funny, you start with 30 production points and you think you can do lots and lots of things, but it just doesn't seem to work out that way. Well, I know he can't use anything with the shock armies, so I'm not going to bother with those yet. That would be 2, so put me down to 17. This would be 18, 19, 17, 15. So let's try the first attack and see if it works. So the Nor infantry activates, the first infantry activates. So that puts us down to 16, right? And let's just see if this works. Faction card comes up. We go to combat commitment. Both sides commit. Germans throw in their tanks marker. Russians throw in their tanks marker. The Germans throw in an airplane. So if we start off at +2 for German, +2 for armor, +2 because he's isolated, +1 because I have a buddy, the first army, and +2 for airplane. Is that right? 2 for German, 2 for tanks, 2 for airplanes. So that's 6. +2 for isolation is 8. +1 for a buddy. So I have 9. And then -1 because I'm attacking a city. And he has +2. So let's just see what we roll. And I'm halved. Attackers are halved. A 1 + 8 is a 9, halved to a 4.5. Rounds up to a 5. He has to roll a 1. He rolled a 5. 5 to a 5 is nothing. It's a diamond, so just our tanks markers will go back on the turn track here. Next turn. That attack did not work, so we won't be spending extra points there. The question is should I bother to attack anything else, or just take my 6 will points that or 4 will points that I knocked off? 2, 4, 6. He should have lost 6. Yeah, I missed 2. He started at 30. I got 2 infantry, 1, 2, and then 2 cities. So he should be down to 34. Right? 2 and 4 for Rostov, and then there's 2 dead units. So yeah, he should have gone down 6. I really don't see any other really good attacks. I'm at 16. I need 1 to flip my infantry here, and probably and then that 15 would let me bring up all 3 airplanes plus 3 more points for steps or anything. So I think I'm going to just stop here. Not a real big German turn here. I am going to spend the Romanians. We're going to move a Romanian, and we're going to move a Hungarian. The Hungarian we're going to move is this thing back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get him someplace where he can guard airplanes. And the Romanian is going to move probably there. Okay. So now we have to check supply. The Germans are all in supply in Russia. We go down here, and now we got to do some supply stuff here. I've got just a few minutes left, so I'm going to see if I can sneak in the supply runs. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything out. Supply run from Tripoli for the Africa Army through a 22, escorted by this fleet with 2 sorties on it. You know, the British are looking at this like this is not working out the way I wanted to. If I go to 6 sorties, he could possibly keep me at 6 sorties with Force H for a very long time. And their supply is not critical. You know, I'm going to let it go. Then they're going to call the same thing for the Tobruk Army, and I'm going to let it go. And then this one over here is going to try to do the Elegalia one. That's the one I'm going to intercept with Home Fleet. So Home Fleet is at net of 0. The Defender is at a net of -2 because it's clear, fair weather down here. And so the British roll A5, and the Italians roll a 1. That's about as bad as it gets. Yeah, 2 sorties for them. 1 sortie for him. He will intercept the convoy. The convoy is actually at -4. -2 for convoy, -2 for sorties. And the British are at a net of -1. And they roll a 4, -1 is a 3. 5 -4 is a 1. So they take 2 sorties. And the supply is denied, and I take another sortie. And then they will call the supply again with the same escort. The best I can get now, let's see, I'm -2. I could get a 4, and then I could get a 3. But I need like 5s and 6s, so I'm going to stop here. I've accomplished my goal of running up his sorties so that I have a chance to get him in the future. Because if I could possibly move my planes up and start bombing them, that'll be much more fun. So that one will get through. So they go boom and boom. And this guy got through twice. So he has a sortie +2, and he got 2 sorties as well. So things are not looking good for the Italians at all. But that's the way it goes sometimes. That there looks like it is the Axis operations phase. Oh, I had to go up here for this. Sorry. This guy goes up by 1 to keep the Nor infantry and supply over in Helsinki. I have 1 more turn where I might be able to try and pull that off again. And this guy will stay at low supply. And there's my alarm for time. There we go. To turn off the alarm. So that is the Axis operations phase. Or for 1942, we will pick up with the Western Axis in the next step and see if we can get through both the Western and the Soviets. Thought I was going to do more here, but didn't turn out that I could. So this is Dren 608. This is the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario of Unconditional Surrender. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Either way, leave me comments. I like to know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, so I can try and improve them. And we will see you soon with the second half of the 1942 July turn. Bye-bye.